Hello Taurus, this is Carrie at Wooing Nature. Welcome to the channel and welcome to your spring reading. I am going to be reading from the Anino Lenormand today. I'm going to pull two cards from that deck just to give us some get our bearings straight and help us understand where we are and what we need to be focused on at this time in this season, right? And then after that, I'm going to go to the Revelations Tarot, and then the Revelations Tarot will give us what we need next. I hope everybody is doing okay. I hope that everybody is learning how to center themselves and manage their emotional state. I'm not saying this specifically to you, Taurus, but I just got finished watching the aftermath of the Oscars and the shenanigans that took place there. And I would just like to say that at this time, particularly in this season, things are shifting and changing very rapidly. And if you have not done your work, if you've not done your inner work, then your emotions can become out of control and you're not thinking, okay? Not at all. And so hopefully everybody is understanding where they need to be in their emotional state, because your emotional state is one thing, but you got to consider your mental, your spiritual, and your physical as well. And you always got to be thinking. And sometimes we're not thinking. All right, so Taurus, this message is for you specifically, Taurus. That's your little bull self right there. The two cards that came up for you are the Child and the Rider. The Child and the Rider. I'm almost thinking that this child is you, your inner child, being able to move past some things that may have happened in your childhood, or moving on from that, freeing yourself. I'm seeing that, freeing yourself from, could be childhood trauma, or childhood pain. Being able to rise above that. The Rider represents both power and movement and being able to push this along. So I'm seeing for you, Taurus, that this may be, you may be revisiting events or things that happened in your childhood that now need to be moved out of the way so that you can do what you need to do. And we are in a waning moon. All the way up until the new moon happens again, we're in a waning moon, so this is a great time to release old debt, karmic debt, and otherwise. And so as we're moving into the Revelations Tarot, I see that this is something, Taurus, for you that you've been silent about, you haven't said anything about, or you have in some way been silenced in relationship to it. It's something that you're not speaking about, or that you feel that you don't need to speak about at this point. But these are things that are coming up from your karmic past, and they're also coming from your this life past. Okay, when we talk about the past, you talk about your past. Your past, meaning from the time of your birth in this lifetime to the present moment, or to just a second ago, right? We're talking about a spectrum. But we're also talking about your karmic past, and your karmic past is associated with your early past or your early childhood. So this is where this comes from. There it is again. This is the Emperor. This is about structure and order, and the structures that have been put in place because of these things, right? Again, it's showing me that you have to go back. You have to go back into the annals of time. For some of you, a past life regression may be needed. Or you can also do Reiki work as well. There's Reiki for karmic issues. So for somebody who is a Reiki practitioner that is able to, like a Reiki 3 or a Reiki 4 practitioner, will be able to work with you on that one. All right, so I'm seeing here that some of the issues that you're experiencing in this lifetime, some of the things that kind of have you bent up or hemmed up or not quite lined up for whatever reasons, are associated with this, and that you are looking for a change in this regard. There's a change that you're looking for, an overarching change that you're searching for. But the overarching change that you're searching for is not going to, you're not going to be able to materialize that until you deal with whatever it is that you've been silenced about. So I'm seeing for some of you, this might mean some trips to the therapist's office. Or like I said, it could be about doing some past life regressions or going back into your karmic past life to retrieve yourself, soul retrieval. So I'm seeing that this is kind of this is an implosion. There's something that has to come undone in relationship to this. That's why we're getting the Tower in reverse. For me, when I get the Tower in reverse, it usually represents um, um, when you have the Tower, it's an unexpected moment, something from the outside that creates a change in your dynamic or a change in what happens or how you think about a certain situation. But when the Tower comes in reverse, the event happens internally. That's the way, it comes up for me anyway. Is it ends up being something more internal rather than external. It's an internal issue. Something that has to come undone on the inside for you. Which makes total sense, especially if you're dealing with emotional ties and things from the past. You need to release this, Taurus. You have to release this. You haven't quite released it yet. Here with the Temperance card, we're talking about balance. And for me, with this particular deck, the balance comes from operating from the heart, being able to release and let go, not holding on to anything, not trying to get at anything, but just allowing the feelings to come through and to filter through. I almost feel like there's like that, the tidy old man when the water is flushing around in the toilet and it just needs to wash everything away. And when it washes everything away, it's not everything, but it will leave you feeling clear, clean, and what's the other word? And revitalized. So I'm seeing here with the sun coming in and in reverse that this thing is weighing on you. This is what is really preventing your true happiness. It's a core issue that you've been struggling with. And because you've been struggling with it and you haven't really been saying anything to anybody about it, you've probably said some things to some people about it, and maybe there's some people who know about it, but it's almost like the information is out there, but it hasn't been worked with. You haven't worked it in. They keep talking about working it into the dough, You need to work it into the dough. So to me, what that means is it's not about trying to, you can't get rid of the past. You can't erase the past. The past is not erased, but it becomes an important ingredient in who you are, an important ingredient to your own mana, to your own cipher inside yourself and in your own cipher. Okay. So then that your enemy becomes a footstool. So that which has been a struggle for you becomes a stepping stone. It becomes useful. It's something useful. So everything that you go through, even if it's very traumatic, can be useful for your life at this point forward, if you can see it that way. But if you don't see it that way, if you get caught up in the the pain of it, and you aren't able to triumph over it, or if you don't feel that you can triumph over it, and you feel stuck in that way, then that's when it really becomes detrimental, because everybody goes through stuff. You know what I'm saying? Like everybody has issues and problems and struggles and that they have to overcome. Our judgment would have us think that some things are worse than others. The pain that one person feels for one incident is equal to the pain that somebody feels for something that you may perceive to be a greater problem. That's judgment, because everybody's pain And everybody's troubles and their trials and their struggles are their own, you know. You know how when people say, well, I'm having this is such a problem or whatever, somebody say, oh, that's nothing. What if you had to deal with this, 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 and the third? Okay. It's always good to have a perspective, but everybody's pain is their pain, you know, so you shouldn't dismiss it by saying, oh, well, that's nothing. So that's just something to think about. So we got the world here, Taurus. It is in reverse. What I like about the world card in this deck in reverse is really, um, it's one and the same. They both look the same. On one side it's the masculine, and on the other side is the feminine, which tells me on the feminine side it is gaining gaining a sense that you have the whole world in your hands, but it coming from being able to deal with this internal issue that you're trying to sort out. In other words, it's trying to have what you want in life without doing this work first is really not going to serve you. It's not going to serve you at all. It's just going to continue to kind of be a burden to you. It's going to continue to try to, your life is still going to feel burdensome if you don't deal with this, no matter what you get in the end. So I'm seeing here to find your sanctuary here. This is actually the cups in reverse, but I'm just telling you what I'm seeing in the cards. And what I'm seeing is it's time for you to find your sanctuary. You have to go in. You have to go in to your inner sanctum so that you can figure out what's going on. And from there, you're going to find your power. You're going to find your strength. You're going to find that armor. You're going to find that these struggles that you've been dealing with, you are going to overcome them. I see that here. It's going to be something that that you'll probably become very passionate about. But truly and really, I'm seeing that it's going to be your armor when you finally do deal with this. It's going to be like a cloak of armor. You're not going to have to. You're not going to have to guard yourself, and you're not going to have to protect yourself, because it will become like your protection. So they want you to listen. They want you to go in and deal with this. Don't go into it with any kind of expectations of the outcome. What you have to do is you have to go into yourself in meditation and just wait for the messages to come through. And then when the messages download for you, then you're going to have a better understanding or a better understanding of what this has been. And from there, things begin to look up. You start to see things fall in place a little differently for you, Taurus. It's a message that you're telling yourself from your childhood is what it is. You know, it's something that you learned in your early childhood days that then became the mantra for you. And because it became a mantra for you, you've been repeating that same, probably some kind of negative emotion or something that you've been hanging on to, something somebody said that either, you know, stuck with you, didn't go away, kept needling at your brain. This is what's wrong with me. If I wasn't this way, then I would be more this. It's from something somebody said. I can tell you that right now. Something somebody said that made you believe that as a child, and you've been repeating that to yourself since then. And the person who said it could have been repeating it, but the point is, when we're children, we're vulnerable and we're also impressionable. And sometimes when people are saying things, adults are saying things around children, they need to be mindful and they need to be careful because of how the child perceives it. It's not about what you said. You can say, well, I was just kidding. Right? But kids aren't able to necessarily discern that kind of thing. And then the other thing is that even if you do help them with it, or even if you do tell them, you know, their perception of it has already been etched. So you got to be careful how you say things and the way you say things and what you say. And, you know, when you're kidding, you got to really make people understand that when they're children. I'm preaching to the choir because I'm talking about you, but I'm just saying, you know, this is how these issues perpetuate themselves from generation to generation because we just doing what somebody else did with us, but we're not thinking through the process, and that, you know, can be a problem. All right, Taurus. So the main thing is to work toward healing. If you need help with that, if you do need to get your Reiki session to help you deal with your karmic past, I think that that would be really good because you have to unwind that and reconfigure that. See, energetically, once something is in play, it creates the energy around yourself for that to continue to be in play. Okay. And so what you have to do, and you can do it through Reiki, is you can reconfigure your, what we call your grids. Now, people may call that just something different, but we call them grids. But basically, it's like the framework for how you're living has to be reconfigured so that it's suiting what it is that what your desire is. And so then you can start to change your behavior. You can start to change your thought patterns. You can start to change your frequency around yourself. Because see, if you're still operating from this frequency here from when you were a child and somebody told you something negative about yourself, then you're always going to be in that paradigm because of how you're perceiving it and what you're thinking and what you're telling yourself. All of that is going into it, feeds it. You know what I'm saying? Like when you want to do, if you want for something to gain momentum and gain energy, keep feeding it. That's why I tell people when this negativity and stuff is happening around you, don't feed into that. Don't feed it. When it was Donald Trump and everybody was all Trump, 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 I said, don't feed that negative energy. Don't feed the beast. You leave the beast alone. Let the beast starve. So what you have to do is you have to starve that beast within and deprive it of those thoughts that it feeds off of, which are the negative thoughts that it feeds off of. Okay, Taurus? All right, so that's it for you all. I wish you the best. I hope you all are gonna do just fine. Take this information as you will and apply it where it needs to be applied. And as always, I hope you have a great day and you have a wonderful life.